Bismillahirrahmanirrahim, my dear students of Honors Part 3, how are you doing? Today, I shall deliver the concluding lecture on Volpone. Let me begin by saying that Volpone is a Venetian nobleman and he is wealthy and childless, and he has no relative to make his heir, so he must name someone as his beneficiary. And you have come to know that several rivals try to attain his favor by bringing the sick Volpone gifts that they hope will be returned tenfold by becoming his inheritor. And you know that Mosca is a clever parasite to Volpone, and Mosca encourages three legacy hunters to give Volpone gifts as much as they can. The three birds of prey are Voltor, a lawyer, Corvasio, an old miser who is on the verge of death, and Corvino, a rich merchant and husband to Celia, who is the paragon of beauty in the city of Venice. And in this rivalry to win the property of Volpone, we also see Lady Woodby, the affected wife of an English knight, Sir Politic Woodby, and she is also interested in possessing Volpone's property after his death. And in the Act 1, we see that in the Act 1, each legacy hunters arrives to present a gift to Volpone, and each of them visits Volpone's house with wonderful gifts. And after the legacy hunters' departure, we see that Volpone and Mosca laughs at each of the legacy hunters' gullibility, and after each of the legacy hunters is duped before our eyes, we see that Mosca encourages Volpone to think of seeking a greater treasure than gold, and it is the wife of Corvino, the beautiful Celia. After a sensuous description by Mosca, Volpone determines to see this paragon of beauty, and we see that the second act begins in the form that Volpone appears beneath Celia's window, disguising him as a Italian mountebank, and we also find that jealous Corvino drives him away upon discovering his wife in an upper window, while Corvino threatens his wife with closer imprisonment. Volpone sings to Mosca of her beauty and his desire. Mosca hatches a conspiracy to secure Celia for his master Volpone. He tells Corvino that the mountebank's well purchased for Volpone by Corvasio has revived the flogging health of the fox. However, if Volpone is to live on, he must sleep with some young woman. The others are seeking the cure for Volpone, and Corvino must hurry or lose his investment. Corvino wisely suggests a prostitute, but Mosca cunningly rejects this plan, reasoning that a clever prostitute might cheat them all. Finally, Corvino agrees to offer his wife. He is convinced that she will remain safe because Volpone is on the verge of death, and an old man like Volpone will not be able to do any harm to Celia, and Mosca is sent to tell Volpone the good news. In Act 3, we find that Mosca and Bonario conversing in the street. For some reason, Mosca is telling Bonario of Corvasio's intention to disinherit him and inviting the son to witness the deed at Volpone's house. In the meantime, we find Lady Woodby visits Volpone and disturbs him greatly by her talkative nature, and Volpone was greatly exasperated. And later we find that Mosca gets rid of Lady Woodby by saying that Sir Politic was lately seen rowing in a gondola with a prostitute, with a cunning prostitute. Corvino arrives early, dragging his unwilling wife into the fox den, means into the house of Volpone. Volpone is now left alone with the shrinking lady Celia, is not successful in his persuasive attempts to seduce her. Just he is about to take her by force, Bonario leaps from his hiding place and condemns Volpone and rescues Celia to safety. And later in Act 3 we find that Mosca saves Volpone from the police by explaining the incident to the three legacy hunters, to Voltor, to Corvino and to Corvasio, and persuading them to tell his contrived story in court. Mosca says that Bonario, impatient to see Volpone, discovered the fox with Celia, seized the lady and made her swear that Volpone had attempted to rape her. The plan is to get an injunction against Bonario. And in Act 4, we find the subplot where Sir Politic Woodby and Peregrine were talking to each other. Sir Politic is discovered entertaining his fellow Englishman with his naive understanding of politics. Lady Woodby interrupts the conversation and mistakes Peregrine for the prostitute. She apologizes upon discovering her mistake, but Peregrine leaves instantly and promises to take his revenge for the insult. At the court, Voltor succeeds in making Celia and Bonario looks like lovers. Mosca persuades Lady Woodby to testify that Celia was the prostitute in the gondola with her husband. Volpone appears in the court on a stretcher to demonstrate that he is fully impotent, and ultimately the charge against Volpone was cleared. All augurs well for the villains as the fifth act begins, but Volpone cannot live well enough alone. He sends his servants to announce his demise and waits for the girls to come to claim their inheritance. And now Mosca divulges that he is Volpone's heir. The parasite became proud of his knowledge, and he became proud of making all the legacy hunters foolish uh, by his trickery, and tell them everything that he is now the inheritor of Volpone's property, and they live in despair. And Volpone now watched this whole affair in disguise as a police officer, and Volpone also taunts the three legacy hunters, Corvasio, Corvino, and Voltor more. Meanwhile, we find that Peregrine, disguised as a merchant, comes to Sir Politic's house and tells the knight that police are seeking him because he has plotted to overthrow the Venetian estate. When Sir Politic hides in a tortoise shell, Peregrine calls in some other merchants to mock and humiliate the foolish Englishman Sir Politic would be. At the court, the three girls, Voltor, Corvino, and Corvasio, enraged by Mosca and Volpone and the loss of their hopes, decide to tell the truth. They accuse Mosca of being the lying villain who created the whole plot. Mosca is summoned in the court and arrives with another plot in mind. He will extricate or save Volpone from this condition, but Volpone or the fox must remain dead, and he, Mosca, must continue as his inheritor. Volpone throws off his disguise, and the entire intrigue is revealed in the court, and the whole thing becomes clear that Volpone and Mosca are the villains, and their villainy has become clear to everyone. And the court sentences Mosca to the galleys, and Volpone is deprived of his goods, and he was sent to a hospital for incurables controlled by the prison. The girls, that is Voltor, Corvino, and Corvasio, all were criminalized. All were charged with different sort of crimes. Voltor, he is deprived of a legal practice, and Corvino, he also got punishment, that is, and he was deprived of his wife, and Corvasio was deprived of his fortune, and Celia returns to her father with her dowry, became threefold, and Bonario got his father's property, and it is through this fashion the play ends. And my dear students, this is a very wonderful play, and I hope that the story of the play has become crystal clear to you, and the questions that are set from this play in the National University exams are: discuss Volpone as a witch fable, discuss Volpone as a comedy of humor, and discuss the theme of avarice or greed in Volpone. And I will suggest you to prepare your own answer for this question, and later get your answers checked by an expert teacher, and I hope that you have enjoyed the lecture, and with these few words I would like to conclude my lecture for today, and thank you very much for watching and listening.